Hello, everyone. Welcome to Use LinkedIn to attract opportunities, one post at a time. We have Deborah here. We have Wendy, both in the house. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
It's great to see you. Oh my goodness, it's been a minute.
I know it is. We do these lives. We love these lives. But I'm in New York, so the weather always changes. So it's like hazy, hot, and humid today. Last time we spoke, it was spring. So I like that things change. I like that the seasons change. I know it's always pretty hot where you are, right?
Yeah, although we had a very lovely winter, it wasn't quite so hot, but it is hot today. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh,
But
Oh, I was going to say we have to introduce ourselves. All right. So my name is Deborah Brown-Volkman. I'm a career coach. I am a career reinvention expert. I am a career goals advisor to executives in Fortune 500 companies. I spend a lot of time here on LinkedIn, as many of you know, and I am a professional strategist, helping you look great on LinkedIn. And that is my superpower because I work with job seekers and they are struggling in this very brutal job market. And I'm always like, LinkedIn, if you want to stand out and get noticed over your competition, LinkedIn is your way to do that.
so I'm having a little bit of an internet problem. So if there's a lag or a hesitation on my part, you know why.
Okay. All right. So
I feel like
introduce
we're on.
yourself.
I feel
Yes.
like we're on the news. With that delay. Uh, hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Shore, rhymes with entrepreneur, and I am a business growth strategist. I help to get really clear on their offer, on their client, and to grow a business to six figures as a solopreneur. And we use LinkedIn to help us do that. So this is a wonderful topic because can you grow your business one LinkedIn post at a time? You can
Hmm.
with the right strategy and with the right foundation, right? Because if you're just posting, then you're just maybe wasting time, or maybe you get a lot of likes, but are you the go-to? And so you talk from the finding the right opportunity, and I talk from finding your next client. And so I think together we sort of round out how effective LinkedIn can be and why we feel that you should be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we should be on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn.
Yes, and we
So
met on LinkedIn.
we
So
met
there you
on,
go.
yes, I know it's amazing, right?
Yep.
So, I did a post yesterday about one of my videos that went viral. I got 6 million views. And I promised to talk about that today and how that happened. That was not my first video that did well. I've had videos that have done 500,000 views, 750,000 views, a million views, 2 million views. And it's a great feeling. It really is because I put my heart and soul into my videos. Videos is my thing. And when it connects with people and I get a lot of comments, it's very, very fulfilling. It's not an overnight thing when it comes to going viral and getting a lot of views. I've had videos, like I've said, that it's been in the millions. I've had videos that have been like 500 views. So the thing is, I push aside the numbers, even though a number is really nice. If I concentrated solely on the numbers, on the likes, on the comments, on the sharing, I probably would have stopped a long time ago. I like doing videos, and some videos do well, some videos don't do well. A video can still do well whether it gets a lot of comments or not, especially if I'm really proud of it. And that you get better over time. And Wendy and I, we always talk about consistency. It's consistency. LinkedIn is grindy. LinkedIn is like day in and day out. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's the consistency. I keep showing up, you keep showing up, and it makes a difference.
You know, Before we actually talk about your video, the numbers are ego driven.
Mm.
You know, they don't really mean anything. They do and they don't. Let's say that. They do and they don't. So, if you have 1,000 followers and you're creating content that is very specific to your audience, to what they're going through and why you are the solution for them, then that can be more impactful for your bottom line than a video that goes viral. Now, I had one video that went viral and it didn't lead to any leads or sales or anything for me. Now, I don't do video as often or as well as you do, but we just want to talk about virality can be a good thing and it's definitely a great feeling, but it's not the measurement that to me you should be looking at,
Yeah.
right?
Now,
Because
why do you think? Why do you think it didn't go? Why do you think it didn't lead to anything?
well, because a lot of the attention that I got from it wasn't really good attention. And here's the thing. It was a video that was in line with me and my brand, right? Because sometimes it wasn't like a cat video, which Sunny, I could do some really cool cat videos with Sunny or, my dog video. It was for International Women's Day. And I got a lot of like negative people going, "Oh, well, why do you think women have it so hard?" And we have it hard too. Like a lot of men like commenting um, on the post. So I guess with the comments, with the algorithm, it picked it up and it kind of went viral. But it didn't lead to one person calling me to want to work with me. Whereas other times, I will write a post about a specific problem, that I've dealt with as a business owner that my ideal client is dealing with. And people will reach out to me and say, wow, that really resonated. Right. And so that is a measurement for me as to that I'm going the right direction with my content.
Yes, yes, yes. I love your content. It's interesting because I had the opposite experience because it did bring business to me. But it's not about. I agree with you. It's not about going viral. It's about what you do with it. And so I believe that the more people that see your posts, the more people will contact you. It's like, how can they not? So we're coming back to the consistency. That one video it brought me three new clients, right?
Nice.
It helped me get two past clients because LinkedIn, sometimes with the new clients, it's hit or miss, but past clients, what it does is it keeps me top of mind. So like there's risk averse if you go with me, if you've already gone with me. But it's helped with so many other things. Like I got two local speaking opportunities. I'm doing these lives. We did this in-person collaboration in Times Square in New York City. I had a book that went number one on Amazon because I asked for help here and I asked for the support. And the best thing that happened to me is I met you.
I don't think it's going to do right. This is StreamYard. It's not going to do the, the Zoom thing. But, um, yes, yes. All, and all great things. And right, we met on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is great for building relationships. And I think your content helps you build relationships. And I think you're right. Listen, there's nothing wrong with going viral, right? And having your video or your post go viral. And yes, the more eyeballs that see it, could lead to potential clients, right? In this case, you were viral, but you were also on brand speaking to your audience, right?
Yes.
Now, if I just go back to the video that I put out that went viral, it wasn't like leaning into the problem. It was just more a celebratory, like celebrating women entrepreneurs and how far we have come in, being able to have our own businesses and be respected and, higher pay in corporate and all those things that we have gone through as women, right? We're women. We've gone through them. So it didn't bring in any business. One, I didn't wasn't necessarily speaking to my ideal client. I was just speaking out to women in general, like a congratulatory. So it wasn't content that was about what I do. It was more content about who I am, right?
Yes.
Big difference. So I guess that's going to lead into the conversation about the importance of putting content with the right messaging, or else, yes, you could go viral, but what would it lead to? right? You can have 100,000 followers, you can have 500,000 followers, but if they're not your ideal client, then, you know, if people aren't engaged with what you're putting out there, then it's just numbers, right? And it's numbers that look good and feel good, but in the end, we want to be able to, move the needle on our bottom line and hit those six-figure numbers, right?
Yes. Yeah. And you know
Yeah.
what? LinkedIn doesn't like those videos. There was a while back where somebody would just take like a cat video or a dog video and they would post it and they would go viral. And LinkedIn has really cracked down on it. You know, they want to see you. And you know what's interesting is, and I've said this before to you, Wendy, I I got 25 views on posts when I first started posting. I've been doing videos for years. You know, I finally have a shtick where I go outside and I do a dress and I put a little lipstick on, but it took a long time to figure that out. And your posts aren't great in the beginning. You shouldn't expect to go viral. Even though it feels nice, you want to test it out and you want to get used to, you want to have a routine, you want to have a schedule, you want to be consistent. And LinkedIn rewards consistency. You know, you post, you engage, you reach out to people. That's what they want. They want the stickiness. They want you to stay.
They reward consistency. I've had many people tell me that when they take a week off, they feel like when they come back, they have to sort of rebuild that momentum, and that could be very true. And then the other thing is they reward value,
Yes.
right? They reward information. If you're supplying real information that's valuable to people, they are rewarding that. I think for a little while, especially with AI, just, and we'll talk about that in a moment
Yes,
too.
we have to talk about AI.
Yes. I think for a while there was not a realization that some of these posts, which look good on the surface, right, were really not valuable. They just appeared to be. So I think LinkedIn is working on that too as we speak, but it's hard to, really break it down. And especially, I've had to change the way I write a little bit because I used to use words like foster, right? And
And
you know,
just
in this hectic world or in this busy, like, those were things I used to say. And now as I write them, I go, this sounds a little bit too AI for me. Like, and I wrote it myself. So I've changed a little bit, become a little bit more conversational and a less trying to be like the proper way we learned in school. Although I'm comma and the M dashes, sorry. I'm using them. That's one thing I haven't given up. But I will not use foster.
or just or just, right? The word
Or
just only. Yes. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk about videos because I like doing videos. Videos are not a should for me. At the beginning of the year, and we went to LinkedIn last year and
Yes.
they said, what did they say? They said they were pushing video. So,
Yes.
even I was saying get into video, and that some people just didn't do it because they didn't like it. They weren't getting the return. So, a post is a post, whether it's a video post or a written post. Do the post that you like and put your heart and soul into it. There can't be a should. There just can't be a should. I do videos because I really do enjoy them. They've helped me grow. They've helped my business grow. I teach people how to do this. And clients, and I help job seekers use video so they can grow. So I know the power of it, and I think that people prefer it. Now, this is just my opinion only. I think some of the text, some of the posts on LinkedIn with a lot of text, I don't know how well they do. Some of them do well, some of them don't do well. But if you have a long post and you haven't written it, and since this is our live, we could talk about AI. AI, the posts are all the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
just are. A post will start out, you should be bold, but then you can be bolder. And then if you see something, go, well, here's the truth. That's definitely AI, and they have something
And I used to say that
inspirational,
too.
right? Here's the truth, and
Here's
what
the bottom line. I
yeah,
used to
here's
say that
the
all the
bottom
time.
line, right? So I do want to say this, so people know that you're not writing them and they're not yours, and people are buying you. But I think there's a bigger piece here, which is there have been a lot of really great writers here, people that were really being vulnerable and letting themselves out, and for some reason they lost their confidence and they lost their way, and some guru said you should go through AI, and now a lot of these people are just using AI to write their posts, and it shows, and people aren't going to buy that. People can see through that. Hiring managers can see through that. It takes courage to put yourself out there. You're better off having a post that came from you once a week than to post 7 days a week where somebody else wrote it. People can see through it. Don't do it.
Well, they certainly can once they have a conversation with you.
Yes,
If
true.
you are putting yourself out as an expert in a particular subject, and then you cannot hold a conversation on that subject, that's a huge red flag. I think one of the things about producing the videos as you do is that, you know, currently at least, you can tell when they're AI generated, right? So you know that it's you out there in your backyard, you know, talking and telling people, sharing your expertise. I always threaten to do video and I always think about doing video. And I'm very comfortable on video like this, where we're having a conversation. Prior to going live, you and I were talking about how, we don't prepare that much for these lives. We think about it, obviously, but because we are subject matter experts and can have a conversation, we don't need to have a whole list of questions. Oh, we're going to go through this question and prepare this answer. No, 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 no. It's going to be a natural conversation because we can, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about when I turn on the video just on me and I'm alone and I go, okay, I have no clue what to say, like speechless. And I think that happens to a lot of people. So, how do you actually combat that, right? Like, how do you go, okay, I'm looking at the camera. What do I say?
Yes,
I
but
know,
yeah,
no,
but
I didn't freeze. I'm frozen.
oh, are you? But you know what's interesting is I've seen your videos and they're great, right? When it's just you and the camera and you're just being vulnerable and you're just sharing, your videos are amazing. I love your video. You're just like this. You might be in your head and think that you're something else, but you're not. So, how you get better with video is you do the videos. So there are times I can go and just do one take. There are times I do 20 takes. It's my mindset. Putting on, I'm an older woman, putting on a dress and putting on lipstick helped me, feel a little bit more confident in what I have to say. But basically, I do a video, I look at the video, and then at a certain point, I might just put it out there, just put it out there, and to just do it. There's confidence. There's confidence that comes from putting yourself out there on a regular basis. I'm probably the strongest and the most comfortable in my body that I've ever been. All right, Wendy, are you there? Did you freeze a
Oh,
little bit? All right.
this time I froze for real.
All right. But did you hear what I said? I said I'm the most confident that I've ever been. And then I stopped.
Yeah. So no, it's funny because I remember when you and I first met, and you were saying how you needed to get more confident, and you definitely, you know, are confident. So I think what happens is we get into our own heads,
Yeah.
right? You're right. What you were saying, like if I'm talking to somebody, I can have a conversation. So what I need to do with my videos is hold my phone up and pretend like somebody just asked me a question and then answer that question, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you can actually answer it. You can edit that piece out. Absolutely.
Right.
Because you like questions.
I do, because it gives you so that's how I first got involved with LinkedIn. When I first got on the platform, I had no idea what to write about, and I was very uncomfortable. Even, there's something about hitting post on LinkedIn that, it doesn't matter that I have been in business for 25 years. I had all this experience. It made me freeze. And it was right around the time the collaborative articles came out.
Yeah.
And so my first foray was responding to collaborative articles. And it was like, okay, there was here's the prompt. Here's what AI gave it, what's missing. And, I was able to go in and like add like my thoughts. And I thought that was great, you know? And so that was my first foray in. And then from there, I started going, okay, well, this is a great topic. I can add to this and write a whole, you were limited to 750 characters. So you couldn't write a whole article within the questions, right? So then I would take the topic and I could write my own take on it. And that was great. That was great. And we don't have that luxury anymore for new people coming on. So what do they do? You know,
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a great thing because, how do what you just said is a great thing because how do you generate content, right? So you can use AI to come up with ideas. I read a lot, I watch a lot of videos. That's how I come up with ideas. And, for a job seekers, you don't have to, well, first of all, you don't have to post every single day. Right? I post 4 days a week. I used to post 7 days a week. It was just too much. I was just too tired. So you can post once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever feels right for you. Just have it be something that has meaning. So as a job seeker, you can talk about your job search. You can talk about your journey. You can talk about what's going on in your industry. You can build your thought leadership. There's a jobs report comes out, comment on it. And it doesn't have to be, like you said, 750 words. It can be 200 words, 300 words. I think the less words, the better. People can just scan it. You have a nice picture. It could be a picture of the Dow or the S&P 500 or a picture of yourself, whatever it is. But you're doing it and you're seeing that it's okay. That people are afraid to post sometimes. What's going to happen to me? Nothing's going to happen to you. What's really truly going to happen is you're going to get stronger, you're going to get more creative, and you are going to build a following.
and the other thing is that the potential employer will look at your LinkedIn. They
True.
are looking at your LinkedIn. I mean, let's be clear on that. They are looking. So if you apply for something, first of all, even if they just Google search you, your LinkedIn's going to come up because LinkedIn spends a lot of money in SEO. So if they search your name, more likely than not, your LinkedIn profile will be one of the first things that shows up. And if you have nothing else out on the internet, that's going to be what shows up. So then they're going to go and they're going to look and they're going to see what you're posting, right? And so when it comes to, a job search, maybe, talking about some of the wonderful things that you did at your old company, right? It's hard to be, if you're actively searching because you're not employed, then you can share your journey on the job search,
True.
right? But if you're actively employed and you really don't want to let your employer know that you're looking, then obviously it's got to be a little bit more covert, which, by the way, is why you may post and not have a response or comments from people, but yet they reach out to you in the DMs. So that's another really important thing to consider is that just because people aren't commenting or engaging or liking does
Okay.
not mean they're not looking. And it does not mean that you're not helping somebody. You are. So don't take comments and likes and engagement necessarily because you're not getting them the way you want to mean that people aren't looking and that you're not being helpful. Still continue to show up because, you know, people are looking. So, um, you know, I'm not the job search expert. And, even though I do help people create content for LinkedIn, mine is focused on like business owners, small business
Okay.
owners, and specifically solopreneurs, coaches, expert service providers. And they're looking at your LinkedIn too, right? So they're looking at the content you're posting to decide if you are the person who can help them. Are you the person, right? Not do you just know your stuff, but are they confident that you're the right person for them? So they're going to look at what you're posting. They're going to look at your activity. They're going to say, okay, and the decision can be made solely by the content that you post on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And that is how you build your authority, whether you're a job seeker or a business owner, one post at a time. Um, Jennifer asked, are hashtags beneficial on LinkedIn?
Yes and no. I think people use them because they use them. Like for me, it's career, job search, new job. I think they're too big. I think they're too big to really stand out. But if you had something very nichey, I think hashtags are beneficial.
I think there's a flip flop of on whether um, to use them, not use them. They're searchable. They're not searchable. The word are searchable. No matter what, the words are searchable.
Okay.
If you have a custom, branded hashtag, maybe you're doing an event. That's always a great thing because then somebody searching for that will be able to find it. I think it doesn't hurt. They're not penalizing you. So if you just to sort of like exclamation point something, right? Like hashtag business growth, hashtag strategy, hashtag, you know, um, it doesn't hurt. So I don't think that they're beneficial, but you never know when LinkedIn's going to turn around and say, oh, by the way, hashtags are back, right? So I don't
Yes,
think it hurts.
yes, yeah, and then they'll change the whole algorithm, and they won't tell anyone.
Right, right.
It's interesting. We are getting. I love these comments. We're getting comments about people lurking and people don't always engage. Social
Yes.
media is a powerful platform. It's a powerful platform. You have more lurkers than doers. That's why I post, because that's how you can stand out, because not as many people are doing it. But what I like about LinkedIn versus the other social media platforms is it's business oriented. You have companies coming, you have business people coming to do business, unlike some of the other platforms where it's a mix. So I mean, I have some of my videos on TikTok and on Instagram, and then the hashtags do work on those platforms because LinkedIn, because TikTok and Instagram doesn't know where to put them. LinkedIn understands that this is a business platform, it's a business site, and it's a business networking. It's a business networking site for people who are working and not working. Sometimes people are afraid to update their LinkedIn profile. My company might see that I'm looking. It's for both the people looking, not looking. But it's so successful and has so many users is because it's so targeted.
I'm responding to Brandon said that he uh, he's had people tell him all the time they love my content, but I've never posts. And I was just saying, yes, I've had the same experience. It's I just did a post 2 days ago. Like in my head, it always sings the song. I always feel like watching me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I should not give up my day job. So yeah, no, people are watching. They are definitely watching. They are seeing what you're doing. And listen, in the end, if you showed up on this platform and you helped one person, right, then you've done enough, and if you keep showing up and every time you show up, you help one more person, just think about the ripple effect of impact that you're having simply by showing up.
Aw, that's awesome. All right, so it's time for us to wrap up. So is there any? I mean, that was just such a strong thing. Is there that you just said it was beautiful? But is there anything else you would like to say? But before we wrap up.
Well, I am going to do a shameless plug here
Yes,
and talk
please.
about my content circle
Yep.
that I'm launching
It
with
comes out
Stacy.
tomorrow, right?
So
Thursday, right? I'm sorry.
Thursday, right, July 10th, it goes live. The wait list, we're opening it up. The community, we're only going to open it up for a couple of days. And our thought process is that we really want to give attention to the people who are joining then. So we're not going to have an open door policy. It's going to be join over the couple of days, and then we're going to really onboard people and really work with them, get to know them. And so earlier, when I was talking about how important it is that your content aligns with your ideal client, aligns with your offer, aligns with your business and who you're trying to reach so that it hits and people feel like you're talking directly to them, right? That's the importance of also having a niche, but that's the importance of creating content for that niche that addresses those pain points that people have. And not only are you the authority, right, but you are the person that they want to work with to get rid of that pain that they're having, that problem that they want to solve. So that is the reason we started the content circle. It's something we wish we had when we first started. Again, I was lucky because I had the collaborative articles. But even with that, and before I found them, because I was on the platform for like a good month and a half before they started getting active with those, I had no idea what to post. So that's why we started. I dropped the VIP link in the chat if anybody wants to join. It opens on, if you join the wait list, you just get to know about what we're doing. No commitment, and we do open the doors on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. There's not a better person to learn content creation from, which is you. You know, and Stacy is also doing it. Two dynamos, two amazing people, really, who put their heart and soul into LinkedIn. They love LinkedIn. And I would say click on that link and join the wait list right now. Right
Thank
now.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%.
I
Okay.
appreciate that.
No, I really mean that. So, all right. So I just want to thank everyone for being here. Wendy and I thank you for being here. Whether you are listening live and you have any additional comments, Wendy and I will go through the comments. If you're listening to the replay, please put a comment and we will get back to you. And we just, thank you very, very much. You can do anything with your time. You chose to spend it with us. So have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.